Hello again. Before we move on to the next part of kingdom Mycota, let's take a quick review of what we've studied in the previous video. Now, we studied that the kingdom Mycota, there are fungi belonging to both multicellular as well as unicellular cadre. Okay, they are generally located in moist, damp places or on dead and decaying matter. The fungus body comprises of thread-like structures called hyphae, which intertwine with each other, forming mats known as mycelia. Singular, mycelium, plural, you have mycelia. Okay. Then we studied their mode of nutrition, which may be saprotrophic or saprophytic. It may be parasitic, and in some special cases, it may be symbiotic. The next part we studied was modes of reproduction, which was different fungi show different modes of reproduction. They may be vegetative, asexual, or sexual reproduction. Now, moving on to the next part of fungi, that is their classification. Fungi are classified into 4 classes. These classes are class Phycomycetes, class Ascomycetes, class Basidiomycetes, and class Deuteromycetes. We will be studying the specific characters of each class in detail. Let's start with the first class. In this class, that is Phycomycetes, fungi are generally present in colonized forms, which means they form colonies. Okay, maximum fungi belonging to this group are used to living together. There are some exceptions wherein you may find unicellular fungi. Please note that in each class there are going to be a few exceptions, like you have exceptions in your families which you call black sheeps. The same doesn't apply here, but you will find exceptions in every class. Moving on to their habitat where they live. Most of these colonial fungi are aquatic, which means they live in water. Some of them are found on dead and decaying material, and some of them are obligate parasites. The mycelia of this fungi is exclusively aseptate, which means their hyphae are cenocytic in nature. If you go back to the last video, cenocytic hyphae means a single hypha which consists of cytoplasm, which is multinucleate without any specific demarcation between the nuclei. So the mycelium is aseptate. Let's look at their mode of reproduction. These fungi reproduce asexually by formation of zoospores, which are motile in nature, and aplanospores. Aplanospores means non-motile spores. Spores are formed inside the sporangia. Like I mentioned earlier, sporangia are specialized hyphae which are equipped specifically for carrying spores. So, the spore formation in this case is endogenous within the body of the fungus. Sexual reproduction in Phycomycetes is either isogamous, which means the 2 gametes which are there, which are going to be fusing, are similar in structure, or anisogamous, wherein you will have a specific distinction between the 2 gametes. Fusion of both these gametes leads to a structure known as a zygospore. So sexual reproduction is formation of zygospores. Let's look at the examples present in Phycomycetes. You have Rhizopus, which is your bread mold, the mold that you find on bread or on other spoiling food materials. You have Albugo, and you have Mucor. Moving on to the next second class, that is class Ascomycetes. Ascomycetes are commonly known as sac fungi. Sac, which means bag. The reason they are known as sac fungi is because during reproduction, During sexual reproduction, they form sac-like structures within which the spores go. So that is why sac fungi. Now, they are mostly multicellular. Example, you have penicillium. You remember penicillium? Or they may be unicellular. And this unicellular fungus commonly is yeast. The mycelia of the multicellular fungi is septate and branched. So the hyphae consists of various septa and the hyphae may be having multiple branches. Okay, coming to mode of reproduction. They reproduce asexually as well as sexually. Asexual by formation of conidia. Like I mentioned in the previous video, conidia are small structures which are found on the top of the hyphae. So spore formation is exogenous in conidiophores. Then there is the process of budding, another process of asexual reproduction generally seen in yeast. Yeast cells are unicellular. So this unicellular cell will undergo the process of budding, wherein a bud is formed at the tip of the mother cell. This bud, after complete development, may break off from the mother and start developing into a new fungus, or in some cases it may form a chain or filament. Moving on to sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction in ascomycetes is by formation of asci, ASCI, which means sac-like structures. Inside these asci, you have spores which are formed, and these spores are formed as a result of fusion of male and female gametes. So this is sexual reproduction. Examples of ascomycetes, you have Aspergillus, Claviceps, Neurospora, and the most common example which we are going to talk a little in detail about is yeast. Now, all of you have heard about yeast. Yeast is a common fungus used economically by humans in various activities. So you are using yeast to bake your bread, to make your beer, to ferment stuff. Okay, so yeast is commonly used in the food industry as a baking agent, as a fermenting agent, and the reason it is used as such is because it produces a very specific enzyme which during anaerobic respiration, okay, takes part and releases alcohol. That is why it helps in the process of fermentation. Let's move to the third class of kingdom Mycota. This is class Basidiomycetes. This class comprises of organisms which exclusively undergo sexual reproduction. So you do not see asexual reproduction taking place in this class of organisms. Okay, common organisms present inside this class are your mushrooms, your rusts, and your smut spores. Fine. They are all multicellular in nature. Most of them survive on soil, some of them on damp logs and rocks or tree stumps, and there are some like rusts and smuts which are parasitic in nature. The mycelium of these fungi is septate and branched again. So the hyphae are septate. Reproduction is exclusively sexual, but some of them undergo vegetative reproduction via the process of fragmentation, wherein one hypha cuts into different parts and germinates as new hyphae. Sexual reproduction takes place via 3 steps. Plasmogamy, where there is fusion of cytoplasms. Dikaryophase, in which there are 2 nuclei suspended inside the cytoplasm. This stage remains for a while and later on the 2 nuclei will fuse via karyogamy, and you have meiosis taking place at the end to form spores. The spores of this class of organisms or fungi are commonly known as basidiospores because they are found in specialized fruiting bodies called basidiocarps. A very common example for a basidiocarp is the mushrooms that you eat. The mushrooms that you are eating are actually centers for reproduction. Let's look at some of the other examples belonging to this group. You have smut spores. The scientific name is Ustilago. And you have rust, the scientific name for which is Puccinia. Both these fungi are parasitic in nature. Moving on to the last class of kingdom Mycota, class Deuteromycetes. Now, for many years, this class was considered as imperfect fungi only because they did not show the process of sexual reproduction. So please note that this class, there is no sexual reproduction taking place in the organisms, only a sexual mode of reproduction. Organisms from this class generally consist of mycelia, which is again branched and septate, and asexual reproduction takes place through the formation of conidia. So it is exogenous formation of spores. Please note that this class consists of fungi which are all pathogenic in nature. That means they are all disease-causing. Common examples for these disease-causing fungi are Alternaria, Coletotrichum, Trichoderma, and the most common is Cercospora. With this, we complete the process of classification. Now, I would like to discuss in brief about what I had mentioned in the previous video, the process of symbiosis. Like I mentioned earlier, symbiosis is a process in which there are two parties which are involved. Both of them are benefiting from each other. This relationship between the fungus and another organism is seen in two cases. The first case is lichens. Lichens is a special group of organisms which does not belong to any kingdom. So it's a union territory in itself, you can say, only because it is a union of two different forms of organisms belonging to two different kingdoms. One of them is fungi belonging to kingdom Mycota, and the other one are algae, which are the most primitive organisms belonging to kingdom Plantae. So algae and fungi come together, to form lichens. In lichens, the algal component is known as the phycobiont and the fungal component is known as the mycobiont. Now let's see what they do to benefit from each other. Fungi consists of thick mycelium, which makes them very good absorbers of minerals and water. Algae, on the other hand, are plants which cannot survive without water. Since they are primitive plants, they are all aquatic in nature and require constant supply of water for their survival. But the benefits of algae is that they are all autotrophs. That means they can prepare their own food. So, to benefit from each other, the algae provide food to the fungi, and the fungi, in return for the food that they are getting, are providing water content, minerals, as well as protection to the delicate forms of algae. So, this is the association that is formed in lichens. Now you have to note that lichens are the pioneer species for xerarch succession. This means that they are the first of the species to develop plants or any kind of vegetation on bare rocks which do not have soil. That means on dry land. So they are the pioneers for what you call xerophytes. Let's look at the type of lichens present. There are three types of lichens. You have crustose lichens, foliose lichens and fruticose lichens. Like the word suggests, crustose. These lichens are crust-like. How you have pizza crust? Just like that, flat, okay? And they grow as tight sheets on the substratum. Substratum is the base on which a particular organism grows. So they are basically flat. No protruding ends. Foliose lichen, like the term foliose suggests, foliose means leaf-like. These lichens are leaf-like and they are produced on the substratum in the form of loose leaf-like structures. Next, you have fruticose lichens. These are free-standing or branching tubes of lichens which emerge on top of the substratum. So, they appear like tiny fruits from the eye point. Now, what is the importance of lichens? Lichens play a very, very important role in human activity as well. First thing, they are preferred as food. In some famine-hit areas, lichens are consumed as a source of food since they have a rich capacity of minerals. Secondly, they are very, very efficient biomonitors, which means due to their mesh-like construction, these are capable of absorbing air pollutants. So, they can be good measures for controlling air pollution. You will find lichens wherever there is excessive air pollution. Moving on to the next symbiotic association between fungi and a different organism, you have mycorrhiza. Mycorrhiza is the association between a fungus and higher plants. So there are various plants that enter into a mycorrhizal symbiotic relationship with the fungus. In this case, fungi generally grow at the base of certain trees and enter into a beneficial relationship with the plant. The plant provides food to the fungus. In return, the fungi, which have very, very tiny root-like structures or hyphae growing within the soil and have access to minute soil particles, can absorb minerals and water that the larger tree may not be able to do. So, this mineral and water is supplied to the tree in return for the food that it is providing to the fungus. This is one beneficial fact. The second benefit that the tree gets with association from the fungus is that the fungus gives indications of pest and insect attacks to the tree. So if there is an insect or a pest which is going to be attacking the tree, the fungus indicates this and alerts the tree. So with this, you have the mycorrhizal association. Mycorrhiza may be of two types, ectomycorrhiza and endomycorrhiza. Ecto meaning outside, that means the association of the fungus with the roots of the tree is external. The fungus binds to the external root of the tree. It does not penetrate within the cells of the root. Endomycorrhiza, wherein the fungus enters inside the root of the tree. This is endomycorrhiza. With this, we come to an end of this session and complete your kingdom Mycota. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please give your feedback. Thank you.